Hey everybody, we're here today to talk about the 4 main sources of inspiration and what to do when inspiration goes missing. When you're staring down that blank page and you're losing, where can we find some grist for the mill? So let's talk about it. Number 1, observation. Your powers of observation, utilizing all of your senses. What do you hear throughout your day? What do you see throughout your day? What do you smell and experience throughout your day? So when you're hanging out downtown in a coffee shop and you hear something that makes your ears perk up, when you're overhearing a conversation, ethically, of course, what is it that made you take note? And did you take a note? Did you write it down? Because you should. That's what that voice memo's for on your phone, or that pen in your hand is for. Take note of what you hear throughout your day. If you see some dude running down the street screaming into his phone, what is he screaming about? What emotions are you visually seeing come from him and his experience? Take note of that. How can you use that later in a sentence or in a chapter? If you're walking outside and you see a leaf fall and it lands in a puddle of water and starts to float off to the side because of the wind, how does that make you feel? What beauty does it inspire? How can you later utilize that in a sentence, in a line of a poem, a lyric in a song? What did you observe that made you take note? And did you take note? So Susan Sontag said that, writers are people that pay attention to the world. And she was right. We have to pay attention, we have to observe, and we have to write those things down so we can use them later. So observation would be number 1. Number 2, emotions. We experience emotions every day, all day long. Are we happy? Are we sad? Is there moments of joy or grief? We can utilize our daily emotions, how we're feeling in the moment when we are writing, how we can use those emotions to help our characters move along in our stories. What are they feeling? It's not just our emotions. What are our characters trying to tell us? Because as writers, we don't always get to choose, and that's, for me, one of the beauties of writing, that the characters get to tell us what they need or want through their own emotions. Emotions don't have to be what you're feeling in the moment. It can certainly come from memory. When you had a breakup and that heartache just wrecked you, how can you tap into that and use those emotions from that time in your life to inform, whatever it is you're working on? So emotions are a big part of it. They're often, some of the best ideas come from the power of emotion and what we are feeling at a certain time. How can we utilize that in what we're writing now? So emotions is number 2. Number 3, I think, is questions. What questions do we ask ourselves throughout the day? What do we ask of our characters? What do we ask of the paragraph or stanza that we're working on? So what questions are you asking, and how does that curiosity help you fuel up your creative engine? Be curious, ask questions. When you're stuck, give somebody a call and ask them hypotheticals. Be curious and ask questions, not only about what you're writing, but about scenes you're thinking about, or how does this vignette play out based on the questions that you're asking. So we have to ask questions. What of people? What if people? All those things. Number 4 is my favorite, and that's art, other people's art. How do we experience that art, be it books or film, music or paintings? How do we experience that art, and how do we absorb the spirit of those things and later utilize them in our own art? I think that visual art is extremely strong. When you stare at a painting that you love, or a sculpture, or nature right outside your back door, that art will inform feelings and ideas and thoughts, whether it's you see a squirrel run across the gravel and then run up the tree, or you hear the wind blowing in the trees. That art that comes from nature can be utilized in almost everything that you work on. The feeling you get from staring at an Andrew Wyeth painting, what does that do to you? What does that inspire? How does that create scenes in your head that you can utilize later. So the visual arts are important, but I think as writers, most of us go to either books or music. There's a reason that music and hearing a particular lyric at a particular time can dredge up memories and can make you happy or make you sad or bring you right back to where you were before. Same thing with a great book passage. When you have to reread a passage because it's so damn good, that's emotion. And that is other people's art informing a feeling and how you can take that and move it forward and utilize it in your narrative. So I think those are the four main things that really help me source inspiration, through observation, through emotion, through questions and other people's art. When I feel uninspired, I think about those things and how to tap into them. So that's where we're at for the four sources of inspiration. Now I want to talk about where do we find inspiration? It's not quite the same thing. So where is inspiration found? Creativity and inspiration is in the margins, and you have to go look for it. I think one of the best tools we can utilize is changing our scenery. When we're sitting at that writing desk and the page is staring back at you and there's nothing on it, and your pen just idles on the desk. Get up, go away, move, change your scenery. Whether that's going outside or going out on your deck or, just moving over to your keyboard or guitar and plinking for a minute, change your scenery, do something else. Get away from the page so you don't feel so forced into staring back at it. Rearrange your space. Movement invites new thoughts. So number one, change your scenery. Number two, and this is new to me, it's something that I've kind of just really started to utilize in the last few years, is prompts. Prompts are a really powerful thing that I used to think were kind of cliche. I got involved in a songwriting challenge with some other really great writers where there's a prompt word that went out every week, and we had to use that prompt word to write songs. We didn't necessarily have to use the word in the song, although I usually tried to. But it really moved me and motivated me to write in a different way and to think of things that I wouldn't have thought of otherwise. So prompts are so exciting to me that I actually started writing a prompt book for all types of writing, for fiction, for nonfiction, vignettes, songs, poems. And I'm pretty excited to bring that to you guys in the coming months. For now, what I think I want to do, because I'm so excited about prompts, is offer a prompt every week down here on my page. So please go like and subscribe. That would be really helpful to me. And take a look at what prompts are coming up and figure out how to use them in your writing and how to branch out from the writing that you mostly do, whether you're a poet, a songwriter, or a fiction writer. How can you use these prompts and other types of writing to help further your writing career? So subscribe and like, take a look for those later. But prompts are a good one, so think about prompts. The next thing I do when I just can't make anything happen is sometimes I'll just go read somebody else and I'll borrow a line, or I'll listen to a song and I'll borrow a line. And I guess that's kind of the same thing as a prompt, but it's a little different. Take a line that moves you or you think is great and think about that line and what that writer is thinking about when he came up with that line. How can you utilize that line without plagiarizing? How can you utilize the feeling behind that line, the intent and the context, and write something based off of it? If you use a line and only write one paragraph, that's a paragraph you didn't have before, that will inspire you to create and move forward with something new. So borrow a line once in a while. Socrates said 2,000 years ago, there are no original ideas. And I guess he didn't see the internet coming, but go ahead and borrow a line once in a while. See what it can do for you. One of the things that we also have to do, which ties back to a change of scenery, is a mindless task. Get up and get away from the project you're working on. Go do your laundry. Go do your dishes. Do something mindless. Just get out and move a little bit. Take a walk. Pet your dog. Just mindless tasks. And my number one, most favorite mindless task is getting behind a wheel and just driving. taking some side road I've never been on before, preferably in the country, and just thinking about clearing the mechanism, just letting my brain go and clear the mechanism. John Prine said that he never really wrote a song behind a guitar. He wrote them all behind steering wheels. And the beauty of that was he didn't have to tune the steering wheel. So typical John Prine whimsy. But I really think that that's a great way to do it. Get behind the wheel and take a drive. You know, think about just opening your mind and emptying it. And then the thoughts and song ideas and poetry ideas, passages, character, inspiration is going to start to flow. It's going to come your way. So do a mindless task, get away from the page you're working on, and just go be mindless for a little bit. One of the other tools that I use for inspiration goes back to Julia Cameron's morning pages. I do those fairly religiously, but beyond that, I use what I call an inspiration dump. And I've got a couple of them going at all times. One's on the voice memo on my phones, which it's one of my great fears when I die, somebody's going to go through that and just listen to all the crap, because most of it is. But there's nuggets in there that I come back to from time to time that I can use for a line in a poem or a lyric in a song. I also have a journal that I keep besides my voice memos that's just got ideas. You know, it's WIPs that I can come back to and utilize. You know, the Notes app, even a Pinterest board. Collect those fragments of quotes and visuals and thoughts and come back to them later and use them. So where is it? Where's inspiration hiding? Like I said, it's in the margins and you have to seek them out. Change your scenery, use your prompts, borrow a line, do a mindless task, drive a car, or take a bus ride. If you don't drive, just get out and move. So keep that inspiration dump, refer to it often, and it's going to help you. So you'll get past your roadblocks and inspiration is there. You just got to find it. So invite the muse to dinner. She will show up if you invite her, and she'll probably bring dessert. Peace, everybody. Thanks for watching.